Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna be talking about something that I kind of feel silly talking about because if you're watching this when I'm putting this up, you're probably self-isolating or you're in some form of isolation, social distancing. So it feels kind of silly to talk about your comfort zone when you probably are spending a lot of time indoors. But hear me out. Hear me out. So I really think that when you are doing things that are very different from your regular life, if you normally are spending a lot of time outdoors or going to work and stuff like that, and right now you're not, I feel that it's a time to self-reflect. Even if you don't intend to self-reflect, you might have a tendency to do it anyway because you're spending a lot of time by yourself and away from other people. So if you do end up self-reflecting, I really think that it's a useful time to really identify the things that are holding you back in life. And I say that into the abyss, really talking to myself and talking to you guys at the same time. In case you didn't know, I like to use astrology for self-improvement, and I'm a big proponent of self-help books and just self-helping yourself. And I really think that astrology is a useful tool to see what are your weaknesses, what are your comfort zones, how are you limiting yourself in this life, and what are the things that you can do to step out of those comfort zones that keep you safe but don't really help you grow. So I'm going to be basing this off of your moon sign and the house wherever your moon is located. But this might also resonate for your south node. You could listen to both, and I'd be really interested in you telling me in the comments if it resonated more with your moon or if it resonated more with your south node. So how I'm gonna do this is I'm gonna start by listing off the signs and what the comfort zones are for the different signs, but make sure you listen to the sign and the house because it's really putting those two together that is going to give you your real true comfort zone. Let me know in the comments, what's your comfort zone? Make me a sentence out of your comfort zone using your sign and your house placement and one that kind of resonates with you, and put it in the comments. I'll make sure and put mine in the comments so that you're not just sharing your soul and I'm not sharing anything. I'll make sure and share mine too. So your moon and your moon house really tells you where your comfort zone is because the house where your moon is located is the place where you go to do moon things. So if your moon is in the first house, then it's your physical body, etc., etc. So okay, so let's get into it, guys. So if you have an Aries moon, then your comfort zone might be doing your own thing and not really knowing how to bend to the will of other people. When you're an Aries moon, you really have a tendency to focus a lot on whatever it is that you want to do. And that's not because you are selfish. I really don't think, I have Aries placements myself. I don't think it's a selfish thing. It's just that is how you survive, by taking care of yourself first, Aries. And I think that that might be a limiting belief that you have, or that might be a comfort zone that you really should look past. So Aries moon has a tendency to kind of want to do their own thing because they can't bend to the will of other people. And even though sometimes that is a good quality, I think that overall, not getting along with others or not knowing how to bend to the will of somebody else might be a detrimental thing in the long term, especially when it comes to relationships or getting along with people at work, etc. There are things that you can do by yourself, Aries moon, but there are things that you need to learn how to be able to do with others and not just stick to the things that you want to do, but perhaps broaden your horizon and really maybe listen to the opinion of somebody else and see if there are things that you can explore when you explore relationships and you really bend yourself a little bit for your relationships. That would be a beneficial growth area for you, Aries moon. Another thing that might be your comfort zone, Aries moon, is not following through because you really like to start new things and you love a new project, Aries. But you might have a tendency to not follow through on it and not really see it into its fruition. So that might be another thing that might help you move past your comfort zone. Really stick to something and see it through no matter what happens. Kind of think of Taurus. So if your moon is in Taurus, then your comfort zone might be accumulating things, Taurus. Having your beautiful things really makes you feel comfortable. And you might also have a comfort zone of shopping or overeating, overindulging in pleasures. It could also be sex, but just overdoing it with your senses might be your comfort zone. And really what you're doing is you're dulling your mind, Taurus, because you really are grounding yourself too much. Being grounded is a really beneficial thing, but when you're so grounded that you don't explore what else is out there, like, you know, the higher mind, you really are limiting your experience in life. So if you find that you have been stuck too much in your body, so you might want to get out of the comforts of your own body and your own home, like your surroundings, and really explore different ideas. Kind of open your mind a little bit, Taurus, by watching a documentary that you've never seen. Maybe leaving those comforting things that keep you very grounded in your body, but don't really feed your spirit. Really start thinking about things that feed your spirit more and not just your body. So maybe exploring the depths of your psyche, or maybe exploring the depths in your relationships, really getting into more intense situations within your relationships, like maybe expressing yourself. You're you don't like to express difficult things, or you don't like to talk about your feelings a lot, but when you express feelings, you're really going deeper than the surface, and you really are going deeper than just the ground. Think of Scorpio and how Scorpio really likes to just pierce the depths of people's souls. That is something that you want to maybe try on to be a more well-rounded individual, Taurus. So Gemini, your comfort zone might be just going out and socializing. Maybe just talking about the things that you did at work, talking with your friends about like just what's going on in their life that aren't necessarily a bad thing. And I say this with having absolutely no air in my chart, so I shouldn't even talk, but all those socializing skills that you have could be a comfort zone. And it would be beneficial to not just be a really excellent communicator, which you are. You're a really good talker and you could tell really good stories and you're really funny and you're an excellent flirt. But it might be beneficial to maybe learn to listen, and learn to listen for people's emotions and not really just for information, and learn to really talk to people about their feelings and talk about the deeper things that's going on with them, and maybe not talk so much about what's going on in your environment, exploring bigger things in the world and talking about those things instead, and not just talking about the things that go on in your daily environment. Another comfort zone for you might be spending too much time on social media. Again, just chatting away and really a lot of communication. That is your comfort zone. And lastly, analysis paralysis. Maybe you are just absorbing too much information and not really doing much with it, Gemini. What are you going to do with the information that you've been absorbing? If you are a Cancer moon, then your comfort zone really stems from protecting yourself and really being kind of retentive and not wanting to share things with others because you don't want to be hurt. And I understand that it's coming from a place of not wanting to be hurt and being very tender and not wanting other people to hurt you. But you have to understand, Cancer, that if you don't take that risk of expressing yourself and exposing your feelings, then you're not going to be seen. And I know that you really want people to see what is inside of you and love you for who you are, but it's very difficult to love what somebody really is if that person won't show it to you. So you have to learn to just open up, Cancer, and open up in a way that is brave and isn't afraid of being hurt. And I know that is just like so silly, it's easier said than done, but learn that it's okay to show yourself. It's okay to show whatever it is that you have within you, and people will rise to the occasion and be there for you and really see you in your true light. Another comfort zone for Cancer is living in the past and romanticizing the past and not appreciating the way that things are in the present moment. So if you're a Cancer moon and you find yourself romanticizing maybe an ex-boyfriend or maybe your childhood or things that happened in the past and how they could have been, it's really because you're not seeing them clearly for what they are today. And I really think that it's important for Cancer to get away from thinking about childhood and thinking about the past and really focus on the future and what is really going on in the here and now. What is the reality that is surrounding you? So that could be a comfort zone for you, Cancer. And lastly, your last comfort zone is taking things personally. And that is just like a very common behavior for Cancer energy, period. But Cancer moon people have a tendency to, if there's any sort of harshness in the environment, they can have a tendency to take it as directed towards them, and it doesn't necessarily have to be directed towards them. And all you end up doing with that, Cancer, is hurting yourself. And I really think it would be beneficial to just learn to be open, and whenever people really, maybe people do hurt you, and that's true. Just because you're sensitive doesn't mean that people aren't dicks. People are dicks. So it's possible that you're very sensitive, but people are jerks. So it's okay to protect yourself and separate yourself from people who are hurting you. But that said, it's very important to really be able to discern what is directed towards you and what is not. So I think that is what Capricorn really could teach you there, is Capricorn doesn't take things personally because they're very like protected and standoffish, and Cancer is also protective, but Cancer takes the insult and takes them as against them. And you have to learn to deflect that so that you don't keep being hurt, Cancer moon. For Leo, I would say it is maybe making your feelings bigger than they need to be. And I know that you do this because you need people to pay attention to you. That is very important to you. But you have to understand that sometimes people are going to pay attention to you even if you don't make a big deal. You need to learn how to ask for attention in a way that isn't like dramatic. Because one thing that I have found with Leo moon people, or Leo people period, is that they end up being like the boy who cried wolf, and people don't end up paying attention to them later. So that might be your comfort zone, Leo. And you have to learn how to be more intellectual about the way that you're displaying things and not be so emotional, because people will not take you as seriously, and then when you really need them, they won't be there. So that might be a comfort zone that you might have to push past. So Virgo, your comfort zone, what makes you feel comfortable and what you're just used to doing, is being really hard on yourself and others. You could be very critical of other people, and it's really important to note that Virgos aren't just hard on other people, they're also hard on themselves. So anything that you're criticizing in somebody else, you already found in yourself and you're already trying to fix it, or you've already fixed it. So just chill. Learn from Pisces to just let go and let things be. And this would really give you a lot of freedom in your mind, because you're so smart and you're so brilliant and you have a lot of mental capacity, but you spend a lot of it just analyzing things and being critical of yourself and others. So if you learn to turn that off or loosen that up a little bit, it would free some of that mental energy for other more productive things. Sometimes it is useful to be critical. Sometimes it's useful and important to be discerning, but not all the time, okay, Virgo? Lastly, Virgo, you can really have a tendency to be nitpicky and not let things be. And sometimes that could be draining. Like I already said, this is probably really related to the last thing, but you need to learn how to let things be and not be so nitpicky, because that's exhausting. And you kind of are working yourself into the ground mentally or physically. And if you would just learn to let things go, maybe learn to meditate and learn to not take control and not try to do something, not try to fix everything, that will really give you mental freedom to use your mental ability for something productive for yourself, not really think about what other people are doing. Libra, your comfort zone is being nice, Libra. You really care about what other people think, and you don't want to be seen in a harsh light. You want to be seen as a fair person who does the just thing and the right thing. But sometimes, Libra, that could make other people walk all over you because you're so nice and you want to be so diplomatic. So maybe to go past your comfort zone, you might want to push past that and really do what you want to do and stand up for yourself and say what you really mean. Really think about what you mean and what matters to you. Think of Aries and what matters to you, and put it out there and put yourself out there and stand up for what you believe in. And don't just let other people walk all over you, Libra. Don't be so nice. Scorpio, your comfort zone is really stewing in your deep emotions. And I know that I love Scorpio moons. I always talk about how much I love Scorpio moons, Scorpio period, but Scorpio moons in particular. And I will say that whenever something bad happens to you, Scorpio, you could have a tendency to just really revel in it because you really enjoy the pain that comes along with it. And I know that's probably, I shouldn't say that because that's very exposing, but you really get a lot of pleasure from those feelings. So even though I understand that that's a big part of who you are, you really like to feel the intense things that happen in this life, that happen to you in this life, but don't let that go on for too long, because that could limit you from experiencing other things because you're too focused on what already happened and really living and reliving that pain. I want to say learn to let things go, but that's so difficult and so silly. But maybe learn to transform those feelings into something physical and really get out of your heart and your spirit and put it into something physical. Make something out of it. You can make art out of it. You can cook. anything physical. Take those feelings and put them into something physical so that it's not just like stewing in your heart, okay? Sagittarius, your comfort zone is being a know-it-all. I know that you're a very wise person and you spend a lot of time wondering about the big truths in life, Sagittarius moon, but I'm a Sagittarius moon. I experienced this and I know what it's like. So you can have a tendency to feel like you've already discovered everything. You already explored everything and you know everything. So what is there left to learn? If you really think about it, that's kind of a sad realization. Imagine really thinking that you have nothing left to learn. Really think about that, Sagittarius, and realize that there are things to learn that you don't know about. And the reason why you don't learn about those things can sometimes be because you have a tendency to know more than the people around you. And so you don't really pay attention to any new things, the new information that is coming from the people that are around you. So actually go past your comfort zone and really see, hey, is there something that I could be learning and exploring that people have tried to share with me in the past? Is there something that you are ignoring because you feel like you know everything, Sagittarius? Another thing for Sagittarius moon, you might have a comfort zone of trying too many things and not committing to any one of those things. So being a jack of all trades, master of none, even though I like being a jack of all trades, but I will say that life is only so long, Sagittarius. So if you really want to dedicate yourself to something and there's something that really means a lot to you, Sagittarius, really explore that one thing and stick to it. And don't really put your spoon in all of the pots. Really focus on this one pot and really make it your thing and really fully know it. And yeah, don't be so open that you really diffuse all of your energy all over the place. Capricorn, your comfort zone is really trying to control everything in your life in order to feel safe and secure. You have to understand, Capricorn, this is where the Pisces, I really think that Capricorn should learn from Pisces, learn to let go, because Capricorn, you can't control everything. No matter how hard you try, you can't control everything. You have to let go and let God, sort of thing. And you have to understand that there's only so much you can do, and you don't have to continue exhausting yourself and trying to do so much that you're like burning your candle at both ends, however the saying goes. You have to learn to let go and understand that sometimes bad things are gonna happen, even if you did absolutely everything to prepare and really take care of everyone, yourself and everyone in your family. You have to learn to let go. Learn that everything is gonna be okay and that you don't have to try to control everything all the time. Another comfort zone for you, Capricorn, is suppressing your feelings and really acting like you don't have feelings, because I know that you do. Everybody has feelings, but you have a tendency to repress them and not express your feelings. So really learn to express your feelings in a healthy way. Don't wait until you explode. And lastly, the last comfort zone for Capricorn is work, work, work. You have a tendency to, when you're avoiding things, or not even when you're avoiding things, you just focus so much on your work that you might not experience the other pleasures in life. And yes, work is a pleasure, especially if you're a Capricorn, but there are other things in life that you might not get to experience if you're so focused on your work, Capricorn. So learn to let go of your work and really have days completely off that you don't do anything related to your work. Aquarius. So for Aquarius, I think that a big comfort zone is being cool and acting like you don't have feelings. Everybody has feelings, Aquarius. So learn to express your feelings in a healthy way and really learn to share feelings with the people that matter most to you. That's a big comfort zone for Aquarius. The other comfort zone for Aquarius, I would say, is I know that you feel odd and you feel like you don't fit in with other people. So there could be a period, or there could be a time, a point where you don't even try to fit in. And I don't mean fit in the negative sense, like you just change who you are in order to fit in. But sometimes, Aquarius, I know you like to have friends, so sometimes it's good to just get along. Sometimes you don't have to be just so unique and individual that nobody fits in with you. And I know sometimes that's how you feel, but I also know that you like to have friends, and friends are important to you. And in order to be friendly with people, you have to have things in common. So try to find common ground with other people, Aquarius moon, so that you could have more friends and not feel like such a freaking alien. And even though it's really cool to be special and to be unique, and it's very important to you, and I personally think it's really cool to be that way, but don't get lonely. Don't let yourself get lonely. Don't let yourself be so unique that you can't have common ground with anybody. Lastly, Pisces, your comfort zone is really your fantasies and really thinking about the way that things could be or romanticizing the things that already were. So for Pisces, the real challenge in stepping out of that comfort zone is really looking at their surroundings and seeing how their daily life actually is and making that life more like their dreams, more like those aspirations that they have in their mind. Another comfort zone might be sleeping or taking drugs, just anything that escapes you from reality. Those are the Pisces tendencies. It could even be like watching Netflix shows. So really the challenge is doing things in your daily life that are real and tangible, that are earthly, that are enjoyable, Pisces, so that you don't have to just like leave your body, okay? Leave your life. So now really quickly, let's go into the houses. So take your sign and apply that same type of symbolism to the houses. So if your moon is in your first house, then your body is your comfort zone. You could be very comfortable in your body, and it depends what sign it's in, but you can be so comfy in your body that you don't take care of it. That could be a thing for moon in the first house. When you have moon in the second house, your comforts are your stuff, your things that you have. If you have things, you feel like you're safe and you don't really let go of things. You could be a bit of a hoarder, second house moon. So make sure that you understand that things aren't everything. And maybe for you, the real challenge is to learn to let go of your things so that you can make space for new things and new experiences. If you have your moon in the third house, then your comfort zone is really your local surroundings. So maybe you have to learn to explore, go further out than that. Really learn to explore that ninth house more, going past your community. If you have a fourth house moon, then your family is your comfort zone. Really, your family and your home are your comfort zone, so you want to move past that. If you're a fifth house moon, then your comfort zone is really having fun. So it might be useful for you to not have so much fun and kind of get a little bit more serious fifth house moon. If you have a sixth house moon, then your comfort zone might be just like some people meditate by cleaning, I swear. You might be that person who's really obsessed with cleaning their house or doing a lot of work, just like menial work things, just keeping yourself busy, keeping yourself occupied. Try to not do that, sixth house moon, and see what happens. See what happens if you let go and stop doing this tireless work all the time. Something special might happen. If you're a seventh house moon, then your comfort zone is really relationships and wanting to always be in a relationship. You're very relationship driven. So what would happen if you go past your comfort zone and you learn to be on your own? If you're an eighth house moon, then your comfort zone is really getting yourself into intense psychological situations, and you're either in them or you're looking for them. So what would happen if you stop doing that? If you're a ninth house moon, then your comfort zone is really feeling like you know everything. Come from a place, the ninth house is a very vast place. So you might feel that you know so much philosophical things and spiritual things, but do you know your environment? Do you know your community? Do you know how to make small talk? Do you know your neighbor, ninth house moon? That might be pushing you past the comfort zone. If you're a 10th house moon, then you might be a little bit caught up in what other people think. You might be thinking about your reputation all the time and ignoring your inner needs, your private needs, because these aren't the same thing. What you appear to be in the public in the 10th house it's quite opposite of your 4th house. So really learn to understand what it is that you need privately and how that differs from what you show publicly. And really connect with the things that you actually need to be happy and not just what you want to portray on social media or in the public so that everybody could admire you. Really think about the things that are privately important to you. And what would that do? How would that stretch you past your comfort zone? If you're an 11th house moon, then your comfort zone is really being with your friends and socializing and maybe being on social media, talking to groups of people. So what would happen if you didn't do that? What would happen if you really connected with yourself and connected with the things that are important to you on a more private level? What would happen to your comfort zone? And lastly, if you are a 12th house moon, then your comfort zone might be being alone, and kind of neglecting your daily chores might be a 12th house moon sort of comfort zone, and just kind of living in your mind and in your spirit and ignoring your physical surroundings. So the opposite of a Virgo. So what would happen if you didn't do that? What would happen if you acted like a Virgo and really took care of your daily routines and did a lot of routine things? 12th house moon. So that's the video for today, guys. I hope you understand where I'm coming from with this. I like to push myself past my comfort zone because it helps me to grow as a person, and growing and being more well-rounded helps me to be happier. And that is ultimately my goal with astrology. So that's what I invite you to do with your own chart. So if you like this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. I put out astrology videos every single week, all weekend long, like Nickelodeon. And I will see you in the next one.